Mr. Mangena takes this exhibit to his laboratory when he returned with it from Cleveland and did some tests on it or analyzed it.
His laboratory?
To his workstation within the laboratory.
I see.
So that's just the background.
Ngicazela ukuthi kwenzekani ukuthi uma ngena wathatha lesibhama biyana sona license la khona wafike wasihlola.
Thank you. Now he then prepared an affidavit in terms of which he found that firearm that he went to fetch from Cleveland is the firearm, according to him, the firearm from which the scene bullet or the bullet that was recovered at Fort Flores at a place where this incident took place was fired from. Now that is just by a bit of a background of what is happening. Now, he came and testified here at court. We know that after having done those analyses, he requested you to confirm them as per his testimony. He also requested 3 of his other colleagues to confirm or to override his findings, which were Fesser, Feljun, and Ntini. That is his evidence, and you and yourself as well as his colleagues.
I hear you.
Thank you. Now, is it correct that to one of the questions that was posed by my colleagues as to the procedure relating to the confirmation of results or their review in circumstances where the chief examiner finds that they are positive and he goes to his colleagues, he finds his colleague confirms his finding of positiveness, then in terms of protocol, then the matter would end there.
Yeah, that is correct, but I must also state that analysts are not prohibited from consulting other analysts.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Just to confirm and authenticate their finding, that's so.
Is it in respect of verification or confirmation opinion? I did not get the question well.
I don't know whether confirm, review, authentication, or opinion, they carry the same meaning. You got to tell us.
The person who verifies the finding will also complete a prescribed form, worksheet. There might also be other people who just give opinion, but they don't complete anything, any document. They just give an opinion.
Are you done with your explanation?
Correct.
Thank you. Now I want to understand your explanation very clear. You say a person that confirms there's a form that they fill in. Let's segmentalize your answer.
The verifier completes a worksheet when after he has verified the findings, like I did in this case.
Now, will that be the sheet that is presented to him by the chief examiner?
The sheet is part of the case file.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, those that would also be involved, you refer to siphoning opinion from them. What is it that they necessary do?
They can only give opinion after viewing the specimen under the microscope as well.
And they do not fill the specific form that you're referring to.
Yeah, on their part is just an informal giving of opinion. It's not a formal thing.
Thank you. Now, as per protocol, the reviewer or the confirmer and subsequent to those who are requested to opine on the results, are they by protocol required to submit affidavits?
Only the original examiner produces an affidavit.
Now, I don't want to say that you said that, but from what I got from your explanation of the operation at the Forensic Science Laboratory, there are protocols and there are exceptional circumstances where those protocols get deviated from, not so.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, in terms of the review protocol, that is confirmation of the results, the standing rule is that the chief examiner would approach his colleague in circumstances where there's a positive finding, will approach his colleague, and if his colleague affirms his finding, then his colleague will pen an affidavit, and then his colleague, who is now the reviewer, will just fill in that information in the form and sign and say, in this regard, I totally agree with you. Is that how I understood your explanation of the operation of the business in there?
The affidavit is compiled after the verification process.
Thank you, that's perfect. Now, what are circumstances that would necessitate a further consultation or a further request of opinion from members in circumstances where the results are positive?
Finally, we get to the basics of Mnisi's question. It has been a long intro, and I'm so sorry for that. But here we are. Finally, we know. Why did Mangena ask 3 additional people to verify what Sereo has already verified and written the affidavit? Why should there be 3 extra people that go ahead and review these things under the ballistics and Dundee microscope? You know what I mean? So yeah, finally Mnisi gets to it. I guess it's going to be the processes and procedures day, because Dave is missing, and I can only blame it on Dave, because this is what the focus is going to be, the processes and procedures. That's what they're going to have to hammer the state on. Remember, it's proved beyond reasonable doubt, and right now here, members of the jury, we are very doubtful. We are very, very doubtful of what is going on over there at the ballistic experts in Dundee. And you would think, forensic science, ballistic expert, you would think it's an above board department, that things are done and processes and procedures are followed. But we know from Lieutenant Colonel Sereo over here that nothing is above board. Okay? Okay, nothing is perfect. It is not a perfect world. And he validates Mangena. They do as they please. I'm absolutely disappointed, but let's continue listening to Mnisi and hear where he takes him to.
Can the question be specific, please?
Repeated. Thank you. I'm going to repeat it.
Be specific to this matter, so that I can be able to give a direct answer.
No, Colonel, it does not work out like that. You can't tell me how to ask my questions. Your duty is to answer my questions. You can't tell me what questions must I ask. It does not work out like that. Instead, it works in a different way. I ask questions, If you've got an answer to the question, you answer it. If you feel like you are unable to answer the question, you say, no, yeah, I can't commit myself. Do you understand? Do you understand?
I hear that.
Thank you. Now, the question is, in what circumstances or what would necessitate a chief examiner to approach further members to confirm his positive finding after he had received a confirmation from the reviewer?
You say,
Yeah, that's the point. It's not an examiner, as I understand the evidence. It's an analyst. It could be a chief analyst, for instance, but it's not an examiner. Is that the position?
We use both words simultaneously, my
Yes.
lord.
Chief examiner or other chief analyst?
They are forensic analysts, but sometimes we call them examiners as well.
Okay, fine.
Thank you,
And then who's a verifier? Is there a verifier? Because I heard you saying we did the verification.
A verifier is a forensic analyst who is competent in that, competent and proficient in that type of examination.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Let's see if we can go on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Clarification about.
Yes. Now, my question is, did you understand it or should I repeat it?
To answer this question,
Yes.
once the findings have been verified, meaning that the verifier has completed the worksheet,
Yes.
he has appended his signature on the worksheet,
Yes.
the process stops right there, then the original examiner can compile an affidavit.
Now we are done with the aspect of verification, the integrities and the dynamics involved in there, and thank you very much for your answer. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, after having analyzed these exhibits, having approached you to confirm his findings, and having prepared an affidavit in terms of section 212 of the Criminal Procedure Act, he then submitted to the state, and then subsequent to that, the court process then started.
I hear that.
Thank you, sir. Then fast forward, he came here and testified about how we arrived at his findings. That is just by way of a background.
I hear that.
Thank you. Now, I must tell you that there seems to be a little dispute between the state and the defense with regards to what Mr. Mangena did.
From my side, I cannot.
I'm sorry, just before you answer, I'm not so sure whether I was captured correctly, because I said there seems to be no dispute. I didn't say that there is a dispute.
That's what you said. A little dispute.
Yes, a little dispute. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. But nonetheless, with regard to the firearm and the bullets which he took under his microscope, there's no dispute in it. That is what I actually want to put forward to you. Thank you. Do you understand?
I hear that. I understand.
Thank you. Now, he comes and tells the court that he used the CMS method, consecutive matching striation method, in order to arrive at a finding that told him that the firearm that he retrieved from Cleveland is the firearm from which the scene exhibit or the scene bullet was fired from.
I understand.
You. Now, before I proceed, you also worked on the same exhibits, on some of the exhibits that were fired from the same firearm in order to affirm his finding, not so?
That is correct.
Yeah, I think I won't waste time by repeating that you worked on test bullet number 9 and test bullet number 4, and Mr. Mangena worked on test bullet number 5. I think Mr. Mangena worked on test bullet number 5 and 9. You worked on test bullet number 4 and 8 in order to compare those with the scene bullet. I won't get into that.
I understand.
Now, on the test bullet, which is test bullet number 9, test bullet number 8, which you worked on, there are certain issues which were raised by Mr. Mangena with regard to the nature of the bullet, which is test bullet number 8 that he worked on. We are narrowing this discussion now. Now, naturally, let me not say naturally, in terms of your ballistic expertise, you decided not to compare test bullet number 8 and test bullet number 9 because they were fired from the same firearm. So it dawned in your mind that it would just be a waste of time because in any event these bullets will be the same, not so?
That is not a correct representation of what I did.
Maybe let me put my question in this way. Upon receipt of the file from Mr. Mangena, you work on test bullet number 4 and on test bullet number 8, and you find that test bullet number 8 was a more convenient bullet on which you could then base your conclusion, and also on test bullet number 4, not so?
Manje uthola usithola ifile uyithola kwaMangena wena ke waseke uqoka ukuthi usenzise test bullet number 4 and number 8 ngoba beziveza umphumela omuhle akunjalo?
I checked all the test bullets,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, I settled with TB4 and test bullet number 8.
Yes. Thank you. That is exactly what I'm saying. Now, let's look at test bullet number 8. Did you find any characteristics which you would be able to convey to this court as you looked at that bullet through your microscope? Distinct characteristics?
I
have already demonstrated that to the court with respect to test bullet number 8.
Test bullet number 8.
Yeah, I need to simplify my question, you see. I'm not referring to at the time when you compared the scene bullet and test bullet number 8. Now, when you look at test bullet number 8 on its own, you see, individually, did you manage to identify certain characteristics that would have interested which would have been of interest in terms of your expertise that you can share this court with?
TB8, I selected it because I saw a better profile, marking profile on it.
Yes.
But not saying that the others did not have marks completely.
So those are the only features of TB8 that you can tell this court about.
Yeah.
Thank you. And what about TB4?
TB4 also, as I have already demonstrated to this court, TB4 also had converging similarities.
Thank you.
In overall, TB8 was marked. The transfer on TB8 was better in relation to the transfer in TB4.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Mangena told this court that although he could identify certain marks in TB9 which enabled him to compare, which enabled him to find a positive finding when you compared it with the same bullet, but there was a bit of a challenge with test bullet number 9. And I'm going to explain it to you. What is it that he said? And this is what, do you follow?
I follow.
Thank you. And this is what he said.
Now
he says, in his determination of the striations on, let me start it this way. He said, it is so that he found that there were striations in the exhibit bullet which he could compare with certain striations which were in the test bullet number 9. However, the challenge that he had is that the shape of the bullet was in the form of a concave. Concave, in other words, it had a ditch. It bended. It had a bent inward, a concave, yes. That is what, amongst others, that he told to this court. Now, at the area where there is that ditch, he could not find those striations. Do you understand?
I hear that.
Now, very interesting. We even gave him, I think the defense even requested him to demonstrate through a spirit level what is it that he was actually saying. Then he practically demonstrated that when he was in the box. Now, he said the bullet had a ditch. Now, you used the test bullet number 8 to do the same exercise that he was requested to do. The question is, did you find that test bullet number 8 also had a ditch, which prevented the spontaneous transfer of the striations?
I cannot remember all the details around the circumference of the bullet, but what I know is that I found sufficiency to be able to come to the conclusion I came.
Thank you. Now, immediately what struck me very strange is the fact that Mr. Mangena says, when I analyzed this bullet, it had a ditch. It got fired from the same firearm that test bullet number 8 was fired from. Now, it struck me very strange as to how could it then be so that Mr. Sereo, not Mr. Lieutenant Colonel Sereo, decided to use bullet number 8 when Mr. Mangena actually did his test on bullet number 9, and bullet number 9 had a ditch. Did bullet number 8 have a ditch?
Oh, my lord. We want to make, firstly, the witness is Lieutenant Colonel Sereo, not Serero. And secondly,
I did not get that, my lord.
the witness is Lieutenant Colonel Sereo, not Serero.
Oh, I don't think that is material.
Yes,
I think it's just neither here nor there. Yeah. When I say Serero, I actually mean Sereo.
Yeah.
It's a surname that I'm not familiar to, but it's unlike Mahlangu, Bomtsweni, Bomtimunya, and Bomnisi, you see. Well, thank you.
So there we go. We went from processes and procedures, what you got to do, him going over there to the Cleveland police stations, to why did you pick number 8? If bullet number 9 had a ditch, okay? There was a ditch in the valley of the shadow of death. There was a ditch. So why did you pick number 9? And you fell into the trap. Mnisi says, what is so distinct about bullet number 8 that you can come and tell the court? And then, Serial says, you know what? It is definitely that there is grooves. It's definitely that there's striations and no. Mnisi goes, no. Something unique, something spatial, something we can grab onto. It was more visible than number 4. And then Mnisi comes through with the ditch. I mean, number 9 had a ditch. Didn't you see the ditch? Why would you leave the ditch out? I would think the ditch is the most important thing and then would align you to number 9 as well, like Umangena. And then Baloyi comes through because Baloyi is saying, we're in a ditch now. We, the state, we're actually in the ditch now. And, the reverse gear is not gearing right now. So Baloyi jumps in to rescue Serial, okay? Because the cereal is very, very soggy. Let me know in the comment section if you like soggy cereal. I personally hate it. But let's continue. And then he says, what does he say next? Baloyi says it is Sereo, okay? Not Serero, okay? Baloyi, you've been reading my comment section. You have been reading my comment section because how many times have I seen that? Even though I'm not saying Serero. So that's why I switched it up to cereal. Like Mnisi said, okay, for those of us that can't say Sereo, what did Mnisi say? It's not a surname I am familiar with. Like Omahlangu, Mnisi. Show up in the comment section if you are Mhlangu, okay? That is it from me today. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to end it here, because it's going to be a long video. So let me just start the next video, okay? Go ahead. You know the things, the house rules. You already know. We got to get to part 3. Drop a part 3 in the comment section if you're ready for it. Are you going to stay up for it, or do you want us to put it tomorrow morning? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on my next upload.